So Vipula is here to
To
okay
chill.
to chill. Hi guys, welcome to the second episode of Spilling the Tea with Ruby. I have Vipula here with me, and we are going to talk about a very interesting conversation today. So before we even get into it, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Hi, Dhruvi. So, I'm Vipula. I'm a wellness expert. I focus on therapy, Ayurveda, and yoga to help with lifestyle modifications with any concerns you're going through.
So Vipula is here today to talk a little bit more about PCOS, debunk myths that we have been hearing across the internet, uh, and anything we would like to know about the conversation. So before we even get into the deep details of how to manage PCOS and everything,
Yeah.
one question that I have for you is there are so many myths out there.
Hmm.
On the internet or like even beyond internet, I have come across people who are actually going through PCOS who do
Right.
strongly believe in all of these beliefs. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know what else to say, but one thing that I have come across multiple times is that you cannot conceive if you are diagnosed with PCOS.
Hmm.
How far is it true, or how, like, what matters in such a situation?
Okay. That's a very scary thought. And
Yeah.
when you straight away jump to, in, relating infertility to PCOS, it can be a lot to deal with, right?
Yeah.
There are various degrees to which a person is affected by PCOS, and it's not true that if you have PCOS, you are going to, have infertility issues. So it depends on person to person,
Right.
and also to what extent and how long have you been dealing with PCOS. Yeah.
Right. And I'm also wondering if, because of this
Hmm.
fear,
Yeah.
does it really affect the way that people start managing PCOS
Oh,
as well, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Because the moment we think, okay, this is going to be something that's going to restrict me from doing the things that I want to do,
Yeah.
to, move around freely, to just be myself, it puts a lot of pressure on the
Hmm.
mind, right? So it naturally affects and
Yeah.
worsens the symptoms that you're experiencing as well.
Right. Are there any other myths that you would have heard uh, regarding PCOS that would have shocked you or would have made you laugh for a second?
Aggressive workouts when you're dealing with PCOS is
Yeah.
something
Correct.
that surprised me a lot.
Hmm.
And I think now slowly we're seeing a lot of people understanding what it is and how
Hmm.
to actually, plan your
Right.
workouts. But there was a lot of this HIIT
Hmm.
constant,
Yeah.
or any aggressive
Hmm.
training for that
Right.
matter.
Um, if you can talk a little bit more about what aggressive training is, because in my head, when I'm thinking PCOS, I'm somebody who also struggles with PCOS.
Hmm.
So in my head, when I'm thinking PCOS, um, I'm thinking, okay, unless and until I move rigorously, I won't be able to manage this
Hmm.
condition.
Okay.
So,
Moving consistently is very important more than moving rigorously, right?
mm,
So
right.
I move rigorously for a period of time, and then the body is not able to take it anymore. It
Hmm.
breaks down, and then you have to tend to that. It takes the focus
Yeah.
away from,
Hmm.
building that routine. Also, your body needs a lot of rest and time to recover when you're dealing with
Hmm.
PCOS, because your menstrual cycle can be very painful.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other symptoms, PMS, a lot of mood swings, changes
Hmm.
that happens, and the more rest and relaxation that the body can get, the better.
Hmm. Right. And what are some of the signs that you can look at
Hmm.
if you're struggling through, say, your periods or
Hmm.
anything of that sort? What are some of the signs that you can look at that would be an indication that, okay, maybe you need to go to the doctor and get diagnosed with
Hmm. Okay.
PCOS or any other, sort of
Sure.
issues?
Okay. So first thing is irregular cycles. This is something that a lot of us
Yeah.
are familiar with, but we don't have to stop there. Sometimes PCOS does not necessarily mean irregular cycles right away,
Hmm.
right? So notice what are your PMS symptoms like,
Okay.
and try to understand if there's a lot of inconsistency in terms of how you are experiencing your menstrual
Hmm.
cycle, right?
Right.
Uh, certain times it's extremely painful, certain times
Hmm.
it's absolutely okay. So if you
Right.
notice something that is a little bit erratic than your
Hmm.
usual routine,
Right.
then it's something
Hmm.
that you need to keep in mind. Take in consideration a combination of constant gut health issues
Hmm.
and associated with your PMS right before your cycle
Right. Hmm.
starts and so on, and what are your cravings like around that
Hmm.
time. So
Right.
these are things that you can take into account when you're looking at just one thing in particular, even cravings for that
Hmm.
matter. Cravings keep changing,
Yeah.
right? But in combination with all of it, how does it make a difference is
Hmm.
something that you can keep an eye
Hmm.
out for.
Right. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense, because then it becomes so complicated to constantly keep track of
Yeah,
something that's going to happen right before your cycle, something that's happening
correct.
during your cycle, something that happens after your cycle. This
And
also.
it also, sorry to interrupt, but it also
Hmm.
adds this unnecessary pressure to
Yeah.
constantly be too critical or scrutinize our body for
Correct.
the
Yeah.
slightest changes that it's
Hmm.
experiencing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I understand that's exactly paradoxical to what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
Like what PCOS is a sign of, right?
right.
It's a
Yeah,
sign that you need to take a pause and relax and
absolutely.
let your body rest as
Hmm.
well, right?
Yeah.
Another question that comes up for me, this is regarding nutrition as well. When
Okay.
it
Yeah.
comes to managing PCOS, I've been hearing a lot about seed cycling these
Mm.
days.
Yeah.
What is it, and like how would it even help in PCOS? Because it seems like a very complicated process, to be honest.
Yeah. I understand, and that's a really brilliant topic that you brought up because it's something that a lot of clients have seen tremendous changes in when
Mm,
they started seed
right.
cycling with, right? So while it can seem very complex initially,
Mm,
within a month or two you get the rhythm of it,
yeah.
and then you just understand what you need to do. So the idea is that your body needs different kinds of nutrition in different phases of the
Hmm.
cycle, right?
Right. Yeah.
So menstrual cycle requires something else, follicular phase and ovulation phase requires a different kind of
Hmm.
nurturance and care that the body
Right.
demands. It's a concept where you're being mindful about the different changes that your body is demanding
Yeah.
for, and just trying to give it the best kind of nutrition that you can.
Hmm. Right.
The different seeds that we use for different phases, right?
Hmm.
For one, we use flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, versus sesame and so on at different
Right.
phases.
Hmm.
So the idea is it helps manage your cortisol levels as well,
Hmm.
and it's also helping regulate your hormones
Hmm.
altogether at each
Yeah.
cycle, right? So that's the
Hmm.
idea behind it.
I'm gonna ask you a controversial question.
Mm, okay.
Can a person who has been diagnosed with PCOS manage PCOS without seed cycling? Like without, because I have
Mm,
come across people who say that seed cycling is a must if you're somebody who's going through
mm,
PCOS, and I just want to get clarity on that.
okay. I think it's better if you do it,
Hmm.
but there are other ways. If you can
Hmm.
integrate this idea into your food, into your
Hmm.
nourishment in different forms, that's also okay.
Yeah.
uh, we do have seed cyclings for uh, certain phases now that has come out, that which makes it so much easier, where you don't have
Hmm.
to go through it. So if you can give that a try, you can, but I
Hmm.
understand it can be a bit too overwhelming
Yeah.
as well. So uh, y- this is again added pressure. If you have the support and if
Yeah.
you have the guidance, you take that and use it, but if not, start with simple changes in your food.
Right.
Yeah.
And what is one thing that is a non-negotiable when it comes to PCOS in terms of nutrition and physical fitness?
Okay. Move regularly. Yeah. This can be simple walks. It need not be a proper sequence of, yoga or your gym routine. Even if you're not able to do that for any reason, walking is an excellent way to go about
Yeah.
it. So walk after your meals. So it helps with digestion naturally, of course, but also to keep your insulin levels at check. And all of these add on to, how your body is responding and reacting to, any changes that is coming its way. And one more thing that you need to keep in mind when you have PCOS is your eating habits, right? More than what you eat, how you consume it makes a huge plays a huge role. One more thing to keep in mind when we're talking about eating habits is not so much about the food, but about how you consume your food, right? So chew your food, slow down when you're
Yeah.
eating, be a little bit more mindful. Now, it's not necessarily possible at all times, and we all have this
Yeah.
tendency of watching something when we eat.
Yeah.
But whenever you can, just slow down in the process of chewing because your digestion starts from your mouth, and eat at regular intervals.
Yeah.
Having that one pattern can make a huge difference. Early dinners, and of course, if you have any cravings, don't try to completely shy away from it, but indulge in small quantities.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Moderation is the key, is what I hear you
absolutely.
say.
Yes.
All right. That's actually very helpful. What is, I think before we close the conversation,
Yeah.
I would like to ask you one question that's I'm sure on everybody's mind.
Okay.
What is one advice you would give to
Hmm.
somebody who has been just diagnosed with PCOS and still trying to figure out how to take care of themselves and how to manage the issue?
Okay. First things first, I know it can be a very upsetting diagnosis, but try not to get too anxious or overwhelmed by it. A lot of them have been diagnosed with PCOS, but it is something that is very manageable, right?
Right.
Having that anxiety can make it worse sometimes.
Hmm.
So try to understand what it is and how it's affecting you on a day-to-day basis, rather than jumping to a lot of information out there and overwhelming yourself. That's the first and most important
Yeah.
thing that comes to my mind. Yeah.
That's actually really helpful. And when you were saying this, all I could think of was where were you when I was diagnosed with PCOS? Because I remember the anxiety that came with it, the sort of downward spiral of,
Yeah.
oh my god, how am I going to take this? And something's wrong with me, and I really need to take care of my body, and like I haven't been paying attention and everything. But
Yeah.
just having somebody who tells you that it's okay and you need to
Yeah.
start slow and take it from there, I think that in itself is quite helpful.
I would just like to add one point here. It's not only after the diagnosis, now that there's so much information about
Yeah.
PCOS, there is this slight paranoia amongst all of
Yeah.
us. So we notice the slightest irregularities, and we tend to forget our lifestyle changes that happened during that month.
Yeah.
Maybe we were traveling a lot more, maybe we
Correct.
were not we're slightly more stressed, or not having enough physical activities, but we tend to forget all of
Yeah.
that because there's this fear around PCOS. And I remember trying to go for multiple diagnoses just to ensure
Yeah.
everything is okay. And just a reminder to slow down there. Try multiple ways that you can manage PCOS if you have, and if you don't, there are ways that you can still be mindful about taking care of your body without exhausting yourself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That again, the idea of being mindful when you're also taking care of yourself, because when it comes to PCOS, we talk about these extreme diets, extremely like an extreme shift of lifestyle, right? That
Yeah.
itself can be so jarring and so overwhelming that
Oh
it
yeah. You're true. You're absolutely right there, because we always jump and try to make changes
yeah.
everywhere at the same time also
Right.
sometimes. we can start small
Correct.
and
Yeah.
then
Hmm.
gradually make
Right.
those changes. Yeah.
Yeah. So starting small is the key, right? That's what I
Yeah.
hear. So this has been quite an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being able to help us through all of these
Absolutely.
questions,
Yeah.
and hoping to see you around soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And thank you so much for having me.